Hello, my beautiful buds. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've filmed or put out a video, so I'm sorry about that, but there's been a lot going on in life recently, the most pertinent of which is, yeah, I'm 31 weeks pregnant as of filming this right now, which is news. My husband and I are having a baby boy at the end of October. At least that's his due date. We'll see when he decides to arrive. I'm pretty sure, I think we found out at the end of February of this year, and I was still putting out videos and filming and stuff like that. And then, well, I got really swamped at work, and the pregnancy, morning sickness and fatigue and general feelings of depression and doom kind of settled in. And I was not in a great place to film videos. I just did not have the capacity to do it. Pregnancy is hard even if you have an easy and standard pregnancy, but pregnancies historically, with my daughter and now with this one, they've been really, really particularly hard on my body and on my mental health and that sort of thing. I had to accept that I only had the capacity to focus on my job and to focus on taking care of my family, and that was it. I couldn't anything extra, I couldn't partake in my hobbies. I had a hard time really hanging out and being present with people. I had to only focus on those things. And then when I started feeling better about halfway through the pregnancy, I was already kind of so out of the groove of making YouTube videos and content that I just wasn't ready to step back into it yet. But now the itch has returned, the urge to create has returned, and maybe it correlates with nesting and that sort of thing. If you know, you know. But I can't promise that I'll be putting out tons of content just because I'm also trying to get ready to have another child in this house. And then once I actually have the newborn, we'll see. We'll see. But I just wanted to make a video today, so that's what we're doing. And I did film a spring favorites video back in March that never got released because I filmed it, but then I got slammed with, wow, I'm gonna throw up every few minutes. And so that video just never got edited, and then it was no longer spring and it was summertime. So, we are nearing the end of summer. I'm filming this at the end of August right now, so we'll see when this video releases. It might not release until the beginning of September, or maybe I can crank it out for the end of August. We'll see what happens. But regardless, I want to talk about my summer favorites now because I never really got to release my spring favorites. So I'm going to just be talking about plants that really stood out to me this summer. And these are largely going to be plants that were very forgiving in my season of only really being able to do the bare minimum, you know what I mean? Because again, I couldn't go the extra mile to take care of my plants in the way that I normally would try to for a long time. So with that, let's actually get into the video. The first plant that I want to talk about is my Hoya obovata. And I got this plant as a 3-leaf cutting, and she did nothing for a very long time. She was actually, I think, one of the first Hoyas that I really kind of fell in love with, because for a while I was more attracted to aeroids. I still don't know a whole lot about Hoyas, but I'm willing to venture into Hoya land. I think that they're wonderful plants. But I do want to focus on my Hoya obovata for a hot minute here. So this is the newest leaf that she's put out. And I love when the new leaves come out, that the splashiness looks slightly pink. I think that's really cool. She, over the course of me not feeling well, she put out 3 leaves. This leaf right here was the first leaf that she put out in my care, but that was before I started not really feeling well. But yeah, she's just been really consistent, a little bit slow, but consistent, which is nice. And right here, there's a little nub right there that will become 1 or 2 more leaves. So I'm very happy about that. Overall though, this plant just makes me really happy. Even though she's small, she's humble, something about her makes me really happy. and someday I'm confident that she'll grow into a really big and beautiful plant. The next plant I wanted to talk about today was my philodendron Florida Ghost. And oh my gosh, he is so big and beautiful. And I will say, when I first got this plant, I was a little bit intimidated because it's an expensive plant, and I didn't really know what to expect, but he has just exploded with growth despite the fact that I've barely paid any attention to him. He is in a very good spot, a prime location. He's very close to the grow light in my bedroom, but my goodness, I'm gonna need to propagate this guy soon because like he has grown a lot. I'm trying to remember how many leaves he had when he got him. I think that he maybe had 4 leaves when I got him. He's since lost 2, maybe 3 old leaves. That's just a natural thing that happens with plants. They lose their leaves, drop their leaves, whatever, it's normal. But he's put out a lot more than that to overcompensate. So he is a big boy, and he even had a run-in with spider mites.
Oh no.
Several plants in my collection got a run-in with spider mites over the summer, which kind of sucked because I was like, I don't know if I can really deal with this. But I treated them, and thankfully, I mean, this guy pulled through with basically no damage at all. Like, I look at his leaves and I can barely see any damage. I love all of the Florida philodendrons. I think that their leaf shape is the coolest thing ever. And look at these little nectaries that he has. So he's a little bit sticky, but look at these leaves. Oh my goodness. This is one that has the characteristic white Florida Ghost look. Oh, I'm just showing him off a little bit. So yeah, I'm very grateful for this plant because I was worried that he wasn't going to be happy in my care, but he clearly is very happy. And honestly, like, I haven't even been refilling my humidifiers really. I only recently started doing that again. Thankfully it's the summer, so the humidity in my house generally rests around like 40 to 50% during the summertime. So they're all okay. Philodendron Florida Ghost. Sweet boy. Alright, next is my Maranta Leucanora Lemon Lime. And I don't know if I was really expecting this plant to do that well once I started not having the capacity to look after my plants in the same way that I normally would, but just look at him. He has continued to grow, again, with, you know, pretty minimal humidity. He had a run-in with mealybugs at one point, but thankfully it didn't take a whole lot of effort to remove them. And yeah, just all I can say is these leaves are just absolute stunners. He's been very consistent in his growth for me. I am just in love with the green on this plant. Obviously, most plants are pretty much green, but for some reason the green on this plant is particularly striking just because there's like the really dark green and then the bright, vibrant green, and this plant makes me happy every time I pass by him, and that's really nice because it can be draining if a plant isn't doing well and you pass by them and you're like, ooh, you cringe inside and you feel guilty. But no, this plant doesn't make me feel guilty. He makes me feel happy because he's just living his best life. Next, I'm going to talk about my Hoya linearis. This little trooper, oh my goodness. So obviously he doesn't look like much at all. He's tiny, you know, he's not this giant overflowing pot, but he, again, just brings happiness to my little soul when I see him, because he started off as this tiny 2-inch plug. Maybe if I can find a clip of it from a previous video that will show you how he started off. But since then, he just is taken off, again, with very minimal care. I just keep him in a decent light situation. I keep up with watering him. Honestly, I don't even really know the best time to water him. I'm like, all right, you're dry, it's been a little while, let's give you a drink. And he's just continued growing really well for me. And like, this is one of the plants that I was a little bit afraid of, intimidated by, but he's just surpassed my expectations. And as you can see right here, this vine is shorter than this one, and that's because I'm experimenting with propagating him inside the pot directly. So I did this a couple days ago. I just put the little stem right there in the soil, and I'm hoping that it works. I want another strand going, and that would be an easy way to just keep adding to the pot. So it was a little bit risky, but that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I just love how soft his leaves are. And I will say he's a survivor because my cats have knocked this plant down not once, but twice. 2 freaking times. And I was so mad both times. Thankfully, like, no leaves were lost or anything. He just was uprooted, and I just repotted him really quietly, really carefully. And he was like, yeah, I'm chill, I'm fine. I never saw any ramifications from that, ever. So honestly, this plant has been very hardy for me personally, which I'm grateful for. So yeah, Hoya linearis. Such a beautiful, beautiful boy. And honestly, speaking of plants that have been knocked down by my cats, so this is a Monstera adansonii, and I own 3 of these plants, so this is not my biggest, most luxurious one by any means, but it was my favorite one in my collection, and I think that it still is, because so he used to be super long, super beautiful. And in one of my previous videos, I told you guys that, you know, we were on vacation for a while. We came back and my cats had knocked this down at some point during the vacation, and he was completely uprooted, and basically most of the plant was completely gone. So I chopped him up and I rooted him in water. And I just recently, finally, after months and months and months of procrastinating, I finally potted him up again. And he's thriving. He's really happy. Even while he was in water, he was putting out new leaves. And I love the leaves on this particular adansonii, and I love the shape of it. Even though he's small, it just, for some reason, like the way that this plant sits is just really pleasing to me. I don't know, it's very satisfying. I'm just over here admiring it. It's very satisfying. Very, you know, it's little, but it's still a good size. It's got a couple of good vines going, and again, I'm just so happy that he survived. He's such a trooper. I'm so proud of him. I don't know. So, especially in this little mustardy yellow pot, I just think he's really precious, and I hope that he just continues to grow. I mean, he's got a new leaf coming in, of course. I feel like my Monstera adansonii are just constantly growing. Like, they just never stop, which is great because, yeah, I like him. Well, with that, I think that that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. Yeah, I pretty much just focused on plants this time around. Even in my season of not really being able to give them the attention that they deserve, my plants have still continued to bring me joy. So yeah, I mean, I really missed you guys. I'm happy to be back in the limited capacity that I can be back, but you know, this is just something that I love, and I want it to continue being something that I love. And I really enjoy being a part of this community. I really missed being a part of this community. I struggled with a lot of feelings of guilt. I don't want that to ever be the feeling that I have surrounding plants and surrounding the plant community and surrounding YouTube, because it's a creative endeavor. It's something that should be really fulfilling and happy, but I don't want it to ever become a guilt thing. And I think it was weighing down on me because I didn't have the capacity to engage as much as I wanted to, and so then I pretty much completely withdrew. So thank you for giving me grace, and I don't know, I'm excited to interact with you guys in the comments down below. So I don't know, with that, I hope that you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye bye.